You picture yourself flying into Seattle with the view of Mount Rainier, the skies are open and you can just see all the beauty of the Northwest. Well, sometimes that doesn't happen. And unfortunately, with some clients of mine who flew in for the weekend, they weren't able to see Mount Rainier at all. However, more importantly, we were able to take a look at which cities match their lifestyle most.
We're Joe and Charity. We are local realtors right here in the South Puget Sound, and every week we are helping people just like you decide which city is best for them. So come with us today and let's explore Tacoma, Gig Harbor, and Olympia.
We're going to start with Tacoma because honestly, I think Tacoma is one of the most misunderstood cities in the South Puget Sound area. It has layers of history, has massive renovation that has happened through the downtown corridor. It has affordable pockets with then more expensive homes with beautiful luxury views of the water. So let's dive into Tacoma to see if this is the right fit for you.
Out of the three cities we're looking at, Tacoma definitely offers the most to do and it has the most going on. It is the largest city, and so you are going to get that big city feel. The first thing is Tacoma has a really great museum district. We love spending time there, and it's a really great thing to do in the winter when you're looking for things to do indoors. They've got the Washington State History Museum, they've got a glass museum, they've got an art museum, they have a car museum, they have a children's museum, they have a maritime museum, all packed into just a few blocks. So it is a really fantastic place to hang out and spend some time. And if you live there, you have the opportunity to just go whenever you want or have a membership at some of the museums. It's really fantastic. And in close proximity to the museum district, you also have the theater district. And there you have some really beautiful old theaters that are just gorgeous inside and out. And there are shows that come to town all throughout the year. There's really quite a lot to see if you are into the arts and the theaters. And of course, restaurants are always on the top of our minds when we are out and about. And what can you get in Tacoma? Well, you can get quite a lot. All throughout the city, you're going to have international food. You're going to have a broad spectrum of course, chain restaurants, but so many independent restaurants that are operated and run by people that live right here in Tacoma.
Matter of fact, we just went up there a couple weeks ago for dinner just to have a fun date night, and we went to Cook's Tavern. Now, the atmosphere was great. There was art on the wall. The server was fantastic. The food was very complex and rich and delicious. And interestingly enough, every quarter they changed the menu. So it's one of those places like, well, I think I'm now hooked quarterly to go back there because it was such a wonderful place. However, this just is an example of literally hundreds of wonderful restaurants throughout the Tacoma area that you could go to and explore. So if you're a foodie, you're in luck.
One thing I want to mention about the downtown corridor is the Link Light Rail. Now, this is such a fantastic part of the downtown corridor that Tacoma has added in the last several years. And it will take you from the Tacoma Dome all the way through the Museum District downtown corridor through Stadium area and back around to Hilltop. And so if you live in any of those areas, you can jump on and get to all those places whenever you want to. It's super convenient.
And what's great about the Tacoma Dome, it is a great regional event center. So you will have larger music concerts that come through there, which are great. They also have great local high school state championship games that get played there. So for football or volleyball or basketball, it's really fun because the environment is really large and the kids have such a great time, and it's fun just to go cheer on your local high school in that stadium. It's a blast. Now, literally moving from the Tacoma Dome up Commencement Bay, there is wonderful walkways along the waterfront, and that extends all the way out to Point Defiance. So you can walk quite a while and just get your daily strolls in all the way up to Point Defiance in literally miles and miles of walkway. And there's great access to the water that is based upon that as well.
And back to restaurants, all the way along that, there are some really great waterfront restaurants. So if you get hungry while you're out walking the trail, then you can just stop in for something to eat. And before you get to Point Defiance Park, there is a newer development called Point Ruston. So you can stop in for a little shopping there. You can rent bikes there. You can also rent kayaks. So there's plenty to do all along that waterfront area. And then you get to Point Defiance Park. Point Defiance Park is one of the largest urban parks in the entire nation, and it encompasses so many acres and it has so many things. It's got a beach, a marina, it's got a zoo and an aquarium. You've also got rose gardens and Japanese gardens. There's just so much.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
you meander around with your family and friends all day long and really just enjoy the beauty of the Pacific Northwest. So I don't know where you're moving from, but one of the things you will be struck by how beautiful, lush and green, and especially Point Defiance truly is.
So Tacoma has a lot to do, and if you are the type of person that likes to have a lot going on and a lot of options really close to where you live, Tacoma is definitely a spot where you could feel at home.
You'll also be happy to know that the commute times, well, they could be around an hour at high traffic times. They also could be 30 to 45 minutes depending upon where you live. And that's a helpful thing because if you're priced out of Seattle, this might be a really wonderful wonderful place for you. Not to mention, it's also convenient access to SeaTac. Now, SeaTac is located south of Seattle, but north of Tacoma, and that location makes it convenient if you live in Tacoma to get to the airport. So if flying is in your future, this might be a great place to land.
That really is one of the main reasons why Tacoma's future growth and value is secured.
It already has great infrastructure. It has already gone through a renovation of its downtown corridor. There are so many things that are already established that allow its long-term growth and value development to continually increase.
Tacoma is a very large city, and so you've got the central and south part of Tacoma that are really quite affordable, where you can get a starter home at a really great price, probably the best in the region. And then you have high-end homes on the north side. So when you're looking at the average price of homes in Tacoma, you're at $547,000. But if you hone in on a specific area like that north area that's highly desirable, your average price point is $797,000. So that's a big swing from one area to the other.
And we can't stress this enough of how important it is to know block by block, because things change block by block. Connection back to I-5, its distance from that, its views towards Tacoma Narrows, everything matters about what you're looking for. So when you think about the area that you're at, the life situation that you're in, recognize there's probably a place for you, and each one is going to vary depending on your life goals.
Then definitely reach out to us. We've made it really easy to connect with us. You see the number below, or feel free to jump on our calendar.
So you're thinking to yourself, maybe like me, like, hey, that's a great day trip, or that's just a way to spend an afternoon or an evening, but you want something maybe a little bit slower, a little bit smaller? Well, you're in luck. The next option might be just perfect for you. So to wrap up, what I love about Tacoma is I really like the food scene that they've got going on. I love the shopping and the art galleries, just being able to meander around with a cup of coffee and visit little shops. It's really just a fun way to spend the day for sure.
And what I love about Tacoma is all about the nature. So I love walking along Ruston Way because there's so much space to just soak it all in. You're soaking in the water, you're soaking in the view of Mount Rainier, and I really love Point Defiance Park. It's just somewhere that you can take a big deep breath, and even though you're in an urban area, you're right there in nature just taking it all in. So we're jumping down now to Olympia, which is about a half an hour south of Tacoma, not very far. Olympia is really a city that I think gets underestimated, and I can say that personally because Joe and I used to live in Seattle and we used to live in Tacoma, and Olympia was an afterthought. We never even considered coming down here for a day. We never even considered living here. We really didn't know anything about Olympia, even though it was so close to where we lived. But once we got here, we were amazed by this little city.
What we noticed as soon as we got here is the prime location and convenience to nature, and also the granola, kind of tree-hugging, environmentally focused community. Olympia has this great vibe to it that connects to nature, it connects to Puget Sound, it connects to lakes, it connects to the beauty of the Northwest seamlessly.
Yeah, Olympia really feels like you are at home in nature. And I say that because we have so many parks, and each of them are just a couple miles away from one or the other. One of our favorites is Watershed Park because it's basically right out our door. We just get to walk around the block and we're in it, and it is just a beautiful park that's the original water source of Olympia. Miles of trails, and it's just so dense and green and lots of big maple trees. But then just a couple miles away, you've got Squaxin Park, which also has so many trees. It's very dense forest and it has beach access. But if you went the other way, you'd be at Tumwater Falls or Brewery Park, and you get to see the waterfall, you get to see the salmon jumping. And then right across the way, you're also going to have Capitol Lake to walk around and the waterfront, and that's just within a couple mile radius.
We talk about this with friends and neighbors and people that are moving into community all the time. Olympia is where art gets made because you can't afford Seattle's prices. We make it here, it gets sold in Seattle because the art studios are so affordable. You get to have an affordable lifestyle that fits the type of person that you are to create the life that you want to live.
Yeah, we love going to the studio tours where you just get to stop in and see artists doing the work that they do. And we have talked with them about the affordability of their studios. And I've heard some of them say their studios are $500 a month, which I was blown away by. And people have moved specifically from Seattle to live here to do art. So we have this amazing art culture. You'll see it when you drive around. We have murals all over the place, and there's new ones going up all the time. In fact, if you'd like to tour all the murals when you're here, just let me know, put a comment below, and we can give you access to a mural map that will walk you around to all the different murals in the area.
And of course, Olympia is the state capital, and that impacts both regionally the economics of the area as well as a little bit of the culture of the area. To start with though, the state capital campus is stunning and beautiful every single season.
Now, one thing that's really important to understand about Olympia is that it is just not one city. It's Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater. And actually, they all could be the same city because it's not that large of an area, but they're not.
So the Lacey area has a lot of new development that's going into a lot of new homes. And if that's what you're looking for, like HOA communities, you're going to find it there. Olympia is a little bit older. It's a little bit more landlocked. And so we don't have as much new construction, but you will find a lot of wonderful old homes. Some of them are remodeled. There are pockets of new construction. And then that goes into the Tumwater area, which is a little bit more rural. So you can find some more property. It's going to have a little bit different feel and vibe to it as well. However, each one of them are wonderful locations, all in what we like call the Olympia area.
So let's talk about this region's stability. One of the things that causes stability in our area is the military base. JBLM, which is one of the largest military bases in the nation, is between Olympia and Tacoma. And it affects our region very positively because there are so many ancillary services that go along with supporting such a large military base. So it really is a positive feature.
And I think another wonderful way that we create stability is the school systems in Olympia. If you were to do some research and find out which are the best schools in Washington State, you're going to find that there are several in our area that are highly desirable places where you'd want your kids to be educated as they grow up and go on to their future lives. It is a wonderful area for schools.
We have several options for high school students to move ahead into college while they're still in high school. We have something called College in the High School classes, which our son did. He got 5 of his college courses out of the way, and they were super cheap compared to what we're paying now at Boise State. In addition to that, we have Running Start. And Running Start gives high school kids the opportunity to get their AA before they even graduate.
So hearing all of this, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Olympia might be my lifestyle match. A little bit laid back, you're lean into the environment, a little granola, you like to hug a tree on occasion. This might be the place for you. So let's talk about what to expect when you start looking at homes.
So Olympia has a pretty close average home price as Tacoma does, $550,000. But what's different about Olympia is that is pretty much covers the entire region. You can get a house for $550,000 in Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater. Of course, there's going to be opportunities to spend more than that, but when you spend more than that, you get a lot more.
Yeah, you actually really do. So if you're looking for like a water view property, potentially even a waterfront property, this is where the Olympia, Lacey, Tumwater area truly shines. For $800,000, you could have a home that has a wonderful view of the water. For about $1 million, you truly could be on the water or on a lake. So the affordability for those type of homes is absolutely stellar in our community.
So let's wrap up Olympia with what we love about it.
So what I love about Olympia is that we are nature loving and leaning into that kind of granola earthy feel. To me, that is delightful. I could get on a trail, walk in nature, see the beauty of it. I could be downtown and looking at the harbor and the water and the marinas and just get that feel of the salt, fresh air. I could be on hikes just minutes from my house. And if I want to go on a big one about an hour away, I could get lost in the woods. Hopefully not literally, but nonetheless it's an option.
Yeah, I love that too. And what I also love is the creativity. I love that you don't feel like you have to fit into a mold to live in Olympia. You can be yourself. It is very eclectic. And you can find your tribe easily no matter what direction you go. It is such a welcoming environment, and I really love that about Olympia.
So if you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, Tacoma's a little bit too urban for me. That's not necessarily my vibe. And then you're thinking Olympia, I mean, I like that it's laid back, but it just might be too laid back and eclectic and you want something a little bit different. Well, our next option might be perfect for you. So let's jump into this wonderful community that's built around a beautiful harbor on Puget Sound.
Overall, Gig Harbor is going to feel more self-contained. It is a small community. It's 8 miles across north and south and 8 miles across east and west, so it's not very large. And that small community creates its own vibe. The downtown harbor really is the focal point, and it defines the feeling of Gig Harbor itself. It is quaint. It is one of our favorite places to just go and meander. They have wonderful shops, coffee shops, restaurants. The marina itself is beautiful, and it's really where all the activity happens.
Yeah, what's great about it is you could rent kayaks, paddle boards, you could rent boats, you can go on a charter boat, you could go on a gondola. There is so many things that are built around that little harbor area that leans itself into that community.
Another thing that you'll notice that creates that sense of seclusion, they have left so many trees when they built. And even get off the freeway and think, where are all the houses? There are so many trees that is just feels like you're living in a magical forest there. It's great.
It also has one of the higher ages. So what you'll find is in this area that people that are tired of the hubbub of Tacoma will look to get across over to Gig Harbor to retire. It is one of those things that people lean into that because it's laid back, it's beautiful. The environment is really idyllic and quintessential for a harbor town on Puget Sound. It's got so much going on for it in those areas specifically.
And in addition to retirees wanting to move here, so do people who want to have their kids in great schools. Gig Harbor schools, as you will notice when you look online, are very highly rated, and that sense of stability for families is really important, so people choose to move here just to get their kids into the Gig Harbor School District.
I will also say that Gig Harbor and like Fox Island and around the waterfront has some of the most beautifully developed waterfront areas and homes in the region for sure.
There is really no reason why somebody would drive through Gig Harbor and decide, I don't think I want to live here. Like, it is really beautiful. The only thing that I think would keep people from wanting to be here would be the price, or that they don't want to be in such a small town.
Now that bridge is something that is noteworthy because at traffic times, it could back up for sure. So when you think about the daily commuting traffic times, that is going to impact your lifestyle for sure. If you work from home, well, you might be in paradise. But if you have to get back into Tacoma, or if you're working around to get all the way back up into Seattle because you're a commuter, just be aware that those traffic times are going to increase because of the limited access to Gig Harbor from Tacoma.
One of the great things though about the positioning of Gig Harbor is that you are on the edge of the Kitsap Peninsula and you have access to a bunch of other really quaint towns. Beyond Gig Harbor, you've got Port Orchard and Port Ludlow and Port Townsend and Hallsbow. All of these are quaint little towns that if you do find that the expense of Gig Harbor is a little too high, you might be able to get a similar feel in those towns. And you can check out some of our other videos to learn more about that.
And what's fun sometimes if you do like on the northern side of Gig Harbor and you're like, hey, I want to catch a game in Seattle, I want to head up there. Well, it's fun because out of Bremerton, you could catch a ferry into downtown Seattle, you could catch a game, you could spend the day in Seattle, have a wonderful vibe. There's a lot of great things that it has to offer, and then head back across the ferry, which I think is quintessential Puget Sound, back home and have a day well spent with friends and family.
Gig Harbor itself has quite a few beautiful parks that give you access to beaches, long trails, wooded areas, wonderful. But then just popping right outside of Gig Harbor towards the Kitsap Peninsula, you're going to have easy access to the Olympic National Park and all the way around the peninsula.
So the stability of Gig Harbor has a lot to do with Tacoma because a lot of people who live in Gig Harbor work in Tacoma and they just commute across the bridge back and forth daily. There's also the schools that Charity mentioned and also the anchoring of the beauty of the community that you live in.
So that brings us to housing. Well, as Joe mentioned, it is quite pricey here. The average price in the area is right around $1 million. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't find something under $1 million. Just means that because there are so many beautiful waterfront properties, larger acreage properties, that brings the average price up quite a bit. If you're looking for an HOA style community, a smaller home, not on a large lot, then you can find something in the range of the upper 6s to the low 7s. So it's definitely possible, but you can find some amazing homes and so much uniqueness. So let's wrap up Gig Harbor by saying what we love about it.
I love going into downtown Gig Harbor itself, having a cup of coffee, having a pastry, meandering around the marina, looking at the boats, the beautiful homes that surround it. I just think it's a great way to spend the day.
And what I love about Gig Harbor is the same thing he loves about Gig Harbor. I love just being in that downtown harbor corridor. It's just delightful and it feels like you can just take a deep breath and enjoy.
And as you've seen, we love all of these cities because each one offers a unique, different lifestyle that we enjoy living here as our base home out of Olympia, because we get into Tacoma, we get into Gig Harbor all the time and enjoy all that the South Sound has to offer because it really is a wonderful place to land.
So if you have more questions and you want to dive deeper into one of these areas, we are happy to help. Just jump on our calendar in the link in the description below, or feel free to text us or call us on that number. And keep watching because the next video will help you dive deeper into these communities.